All right, Carl, we are live. And so people are going to start popping on. And welcome to all the people who will be coming on and those who are going to watch this later. And I'm going to share this on my page. All right. So, hello everyone. We've got people watching, Carl. So, there are some people who are very interested in what the big announcement is for SDBs. And so, Carl is going to share with us, and for those of you who watch later, a little bit about what God has been doing amongst SDBs and some of the exciting news that we got coming up.
All right. Thank you, John. I love good news. What a privilege to be able to share good news with you. And the good news is about an exciting initiative that we're stepping forward in the area of Seventh-day Baptist church planting. And I've been thinking about how to frame this, of how to frame this discussion. And so I thought the best way would be to use a frame. You like that, John? Is that ingenious? So this frame is actually one of my favorite keepsakes. If you look at it, it's a picture of my daughter and I when she was 7. And it says, she gave it to me, no matter how old I will, let me say that again. No matter how old, I will always be daddy's girl. Oh, I love that. And the picture, it makes me a little misty, you know, it's that dad proud moment of my little girl. But you know, the cool thing about this frame is that it applies to the past, the present, and the future. I look at this picture and I celebrate my little girl when she's 7. But I also celebrate Ellie in the present. And I celebrate who God has created her to be and how he's shaping her for the future. That's the sort of framing that I want to have about tonight's good news. It builds off the vision map that we've been working with as a general conference for a period of time. And this leans into the space of joining God in actively advancing his kingdom. And we've been doing this in 4 main ways. Through church revitalization, which in many ways is about healthy churches. We've been doing it through leadership development, of bringing healthy leaders. We've been leaning into gospel saturation, this idea of healthy living, of public witness of our faith in word and deed. And we've also been leaning into church planting, which is healthy growth. And you know, for healthy growth, it really requires healthy churches, healthy leaders, healthy living. And it's exciting that we're at a place to take next steps in that healthy growth. I want to celebrate some of the past and present of what's been happening with the church planting initiative. Of John Pethtel, Seventh-day Baptist Director of Church Development, along with the Church Planting Task Force, has been doing foundational work in the space of church planting for quite some time, developing spirit-led, spiritually rooted Seventh-day Baptist approach. Along with that, they launched Team 21 Prayer Initiative, in which there is a team of people passionately praying about Seventh-day Baptist church planting. And if you want to be a part of that, please certainly search out the Team 21 initiative. You know, John, along with the Church Planting Task Force, has also facilitated a network of people who are passionate about Seventh-day Baptist church planting. And with that, I can't say enough about the role that Patty Peterson has been doing in many ways behind the scenes of drawing together all sorts of important information, networking, and opportunities to move forward in the space of working with church planting and people who are interested in new expressions of Seventh-day Baptist faith. Some of that fruition can be seen in the church planting boot camp that just had its inaugural session this last Sunday. More than 25 people who are interested in Seventh-day Baptist church planting, already planting or have a passion for planting, were engaged in that. There is momentum that is picking up in the area of church planting. In many ways, this is something to really celebrate. A vision map success of over the long haul of leaning into church revitalization, leadership development, gospel saturation, and church planting. And now we're at a place where fruitfulness brings responsibility. And this is an opportunity to launch the church planting coordinator. John, can you speak into this with the specifics of walking us through what this means specifically?
Yeah, we are looking to hire someone who is going to assist in the work of starting new SDB churches as a catalyzer, as a networker, and as a ministry coordinator. Someone who is going to help in all of those roles, make things run smoothly. Someone who's going to connect people who want SDB churches in the places where they live with other SDBs who want to help see churches in those places. And so we're looking for someone part-time who is familiar with Seventh-day Baptists and how we operate, is familiar with the resources that we have and the opportunities that are available for leaders and churches. We're looking for someone who can counsel and guide church plants to those resources and to those people and promote the work of church planting. Someone who work hand in hand with our church planting task force in order to bring things. And none of this would be possible without the help of the General Council and the Memorial Board. They really see the momentum that has been going, and they are behind this initiative 100%. So what we have going on is that momentum is on our side. We've been gaining it, and we want to continue working where God is working, doing what God has been doing, and we want to take a next step in faith, in action, into what God has invested into us. And so we are going to invest human capital into this area of ministry of church planting. We are going to add someone to our team who is going to help with this. And so we're looking for someone who is going to work maybe an average of 15 to 20 hours a week, who will be this networker, catalyzer, ministry coordinator. And if you are interested in this position, we're going to have a blog tomorrow that talks a little bit more about this. But if you're interested in the position, we're looking for you to submit your resume or your curriculum vitae, your cover letter, and email that to Brittany Kirsten. So the email link will be in the comments. And we're looking for applications for resumes through the whole month of November. So we're starting November 1st through the end of November, November 30th, taking these resumes and CVs, and then hopefully scheduling some interviews with the people who are interested in this work. So on your cover letter, we're looking for you to answer two main questions for us as you look to join our team in this exciting area. One is we want you to answer the question of why you're applying. And we also want you to tell us what's your philosophy of church planting. Where do you think Seventh-day Baptists need to go? in church planting. And so we're looking for those questions to be answered on your cover letter. So please, November 1st, submit these things. If you have any questions about those, you can email Brittany as well too, and she'll make sure that someone gets an answer for your questions related to this search. And we're looking forward to you applying. So it doesn't hurt to send in the stuff. So if you think that this is a thing that God is leading you to, we want to hear from you. So we're excited about this, and we're hoping that you're going to be excited about this too. So this is really big news for Seventh-day Baptist.
Yeah, I just want to follow up a minute on what John shared of, it's so exciting to see God at work and to be invited to join him in that work. And this is a unique season to have an opportunity for all of us to join in that work, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through personal engagement and planting and revitalization, whether it's applying for this position. This is a tremendous season for us as Seventh-day Baptists. And what an opportunity for a God-glorifying time. We're thankful for God's provision in many ways. John mentioned General Council and the initiative that they've taken. The Memorial Board as a strategic partner in making this possible. A number of generous givers who have given of their treasure to make this possible. And again, as we look back to the past, the present, and the future, it is all something to celebrate as we walk alongside God in this. So thank you. And I am so excited about the journey that we have to take moving forward as Seventh-day Baptists in this space.
Carl, if people are interested, not in this job, but interested in church planning, there's other ways to get involved too. So feel free to contact me if you're like, yes, I want to be a part of that, but I don't feel called to that particular thing. There are ways that we can get your church involved in some of the exciting things that are going on in church planning. So I want to make that invitation as well for all of you this evening. So if you have any questions, Carl and I are ready to take on some questions about church planning, about this position, and maybe about anything. We're going to try to keep it cogent this evening to church planning, but we're ready and prepared. And then, Carl, one last thing I wanted to say about General Council, not just the current members, but previous members. This has been a process that has been in work for years, and so there's people who have been setting the ground for this all the way along. So I want to thank them as well too.
Thank you so much for mentioning that, John. That whole past, present, and future is so important. That the future is very exciting to be looking forward to, but if we miss the thankfulness of who's been laying the foundation, if we miss the thankfulness to God himself, if we miss the opportunity to act in the present, we're missing. So thank you for that, John. That's a good word. And as John's looking through a few notes and feedback there, I would like to mention a little bit about one of the key pieces about how church planting is possible is that healthy churches, healthy leaders, healthy living aspect, that we all need to be engaged in that space. And so as a part of moving towards church planting, church revitalization is a key piece of that our current churches are healthy and moving into space where they can be sponsoring of new churches, where they can be living out God's call on their lives. So I'm just going to give a plug for the Pulse process also, that is actually interwoven with church planting, that moving towards improved church health is all the more important for church planting. So one more plug to contact John Pethtel, because who doesn't like calling or emailing John Pethtel? So again, the Pulse process is a great thing to enter into, and I'll keep sending people to John Pethtel.
Yeah, we're ready for the season when all the churches are ready and interested in Pulse as well too. So and we think that time is ripe. So we do have a question here about painting a picture of the kinds of things that the church planting coordinator is going to do. And so I'm going to read from the job description, which we'll make sure if you are interested in the position, you can get a copy. Once again, contact Brittany and she'll make sure that that happens for you. But what we're looking at is people who are someone to be in regular contact with those who are starting new SDB churches, someone who's in regular contact with our existing churches to encourage them in the work of church planting and participating in those ways, someone who's going to counsel and guide church plants to the resources they need. And we network and partner with other groups and networks of churches that are planting churches as well too. And so we have access to just an amazing array of resources. This person is also liable to travel to these church plants to see what's going on, to help encourage the work that is doing that. They're going to promote the work of church planting. So they're going to be a cheerleader for the work of church planting among SDBs. So that could include speaking, that could include written communication. So it could include videos that are being shared. And so they're also going to be the one who is going to manage and initiate new church planting ministries. So they're the ones who are going to help do that as well too. So they're going to join our team, and we're excited about that. So now we got a question: how flexible is the schedule? How much travel will be involved? So, like I said, the schedule, we're looking at 15 to 20 hours a week on average. That's the compensation that we're doing. So this could be a co-vocation for someone. And the schedule is flexible. We're looking at goals getting accomplished, not necessarily hours being punched on a clock. So that's going to be a good thing. So we'll set goals with the new church planting coordinator and work towards getting those achieved. And as for the travel, that's really up in the air right now. There is no travel. For all sorts of reasons, right? So this could look like Zoom, but there are certain times in the life of a church or whatever where there just needs to be a person on the ground where we need to know exactly what's going on in a situation, because you can only get so much through a Zoom call or through a phone call. And so we're looking at some occasional travel as it makes sense. And according to our travel policy for the conference, we coordinate that travel through the directors. So we make sure that that when a trip needs to be made, that it's a priority for us. And church planting is one of the major priorities that we have for travel. So good question.
I'd just like to jump in along with that. John was leaning to the specifics, and more broadly, something that's important to keep in mind also is I don't think we can emphasize collaborative enough in terms of this is part of the team, and we function very much as a team of directors and staff, which, to be honest, I'll share a secret with you. It's a great group to work with. But along those lines of, it is important to have the mindset of this is part of a team and how to collaborate. And another piece is being an intrapreneur. The idea of using initiative, of bringing skills and talents within an organization to bring about creativity and innovation. So those are some pieces that get thrown in the mix. Maybe that's a little bit more broad, but to give a little bit of a flavor of what it would feel like.
So why is it important that this person understand what SDBs are all about? Can you answer that one for them, Carl?
Well, we could play a definition game of, what are Seventh-day Baptists all about? That's a good question, because we don't want to go down the route of being so narrow in vision that we miss God's greater kingdom work. So I want to be very careful that when we say that we're looking for someone who knows about Seventh-day Baptist, that it's not tunnel vision of this is the only way we do things. We don't collaborate outside our group or anything like that. But it is an idea of, well, who are we? If we're introducing people to us, we need to know who they're being, we need to be able to explain who they're being introduced to give a full idea, a full flavor of where we're coming from. So I think that there's kind of two pieces to that. One is that we're not talking about tunnel vision, but at the same time, able to give not just a picture of who Seventh-day Baptists are, but a winsome picture. John Pethtel keeps giving me vocabulary words, and winsome happens to be one of them. So winsome, I think that should be a Seventh-day Baptist sort of thing, is that we can be winsome in who we are. And so in many ways, this networking church planting coordinator would be winsome in being able to explain who we are in a way that is kind of captivating and accurate.
Yeah. I think it's really important, part of the identity of Seventh-day Baptist, right? It's not just what we believe, and it's not just how we practice what we believe. We are also an extremely relational people. So we value not just the biological connections, but the connections relationally that that we make, not just in our local churches, but in our whole network of churches. And so someone who can help bring people, not just through the beliefs, because we could teach them that, and not just through the practice of those beliefs, because we could show them that, but to the people who make up who we are. Someone who helps to connect that piece. That's why I think that's a major piece. Another question that popped up here that you can answer for sure, Carl, is what does this mean about my role? How is this affecting my role with church planting?
My role. Oh, John Pethel's role.
John Pethel's role.
Okay. As definitions, who is my? So I mentioned before that fruitfulness increases responsibility. And that is what John is unfortunately experiencing. Or fortunately, I think that we should celebrate it, but it does bring more responsibility. That this is still, John is director of church development. This is still in John's responsibility task. It's a team member to come alongside him. And so I want to celebrate that we're in a place in which John is able to take more steps forward in the space of church development by having a team member come alongside him. Another piece is, as a team, we've collaborated a little bit different with the new guy that came on a little over a year ago, whoever that might be. We shifted things a little bit based on a different set of skills and talents. And so John has taken over some pieces that he wasn't doing before and is really good at. And I have shifted and taken some roles that Rob was not doing before. And so we've had this shifting around. And so this actually creates kind of a sweet spot for someone to come alongside John in this space. So it's fruitfulness, it's efficiency, and I think it's a good stewardship of skills, talents, and gifts. So to wrap that, I want to mention one more time, this is more responsibility on John's plate because of fruitfulness, but it's not more responsibility without another collaborative partner.
Right. Yeah, the intention here is I'm not getting out of the business of church planting. As a matter of fact, all our directors are in the business of church planting. That's because that's a big part of the focus of our conference, that healthy growth that we want to see happen. So I'm still involved in that work, just maybe flying a little bit higher, and this person will be handling some day-to-day kinds of details. So there was one more question about Patty, what Patty's role is. What will she be doing? And the answer to that is Patty's going to be doing the same thing that she has always been doing. So Patty is our new contacts coordinator. She's the one who gets most of our emails from people who are asking questions about Seventh-day Baptist or want to know how Seventh-day Baptist can get to where they are. And so she has been solely responsible for that really for almost 2 years, a little more than 2 years, and has done a great job in that. She also is responsible for our CRM, our church resource management tool, and that's all the data that we collect from these new contacts and from people in our churches that help us to not just analyze things that are going on, but help us to create great mailing lists and those kinds of things. And that's something that Patty is skilled at, gifted at, taught at, and she's been doing a fantastic job. So this is just another complementing position to all of these things.
I'd like to hop on and mention something about Patty, which is outstanding. Is right when I started, Patty contacted me and said, I'd like to train you on how to use our database. Now, think about that, of how genius it is. She could just be continuing to generate data, but not equip us to know how to use it. And so to right out of the gate, to get me trained on how to utilize the data. And so this isn't just data generation to get dust on it. She's equipping us to take next steps. And I hope that you're getting the feeling that our communication is continuing to increase and be more pointed. And in many ways, that's thanks to Jeremiah Owen, our director of communication, who happens to be awesome. But Patty is also this great networker who is giving us the tools and abilities to be able to reach into unique spaces and to be more precise, including with church planting. So I can't say enough about Patty and the entire team, the way we come together.
Well, there are some choice comments about Patty in the comments of our Facebook live here. So Nick says that Patty is a gift from the sweet baby Jesus. So, and there's another comment that says that she's a superhero for the Lord. I would agree with both of those things.
I have not seen her cape, but I believe it.
So this is a last opportunity. If there's some questions for us concerning this awesome news about how we're moving forward in the area of church planting, we're going to hang on for another minute or so and see if you got those comments. And if not, you're going to be able to watch this later. You're going to be able to share it with others. Please do. Please share this with your churches. Please share this with whoever you want to on social media. And we should have this video available as well on YouTube. And remember the blog tomorrow. So if you forgot everything about tonight, you can look at the blog tomorrow and be able to get that. And if you haven't subscribed to the blog, now's a great time to do that, because that's where we release a lot of great news and information that you're missing out on if you're not getting the email notifications for that. So Carl, one more question. How are we affording this? I thought there was no money.
So that is a good question. And so I'm going to give two answers. First, God is good. And God has provided in some surprising ways. Second is the practical aspect of that, based on God's prompting, people have responded. So there has been generous givers that allow this to take place. There has been faithfulness over a long period of time that creates this opportunity. The Memorial Board, who has a vision for church planting, of partnering and moving this forward, are a critical partner in making this happen. So that's another key piece of the financial piece. But also, careful stewardship. I've been trying to say good things about all the staff. I like them to like me, but also I just want to be honest. Our director of finance, Ron Oakes, is very careful when it comes to stewardship. And he has worked very hard over a considerable period of time to be the best steward possible, and has positioned us in a place to be able to make some bold moves now, thanks to long-standing investment of his skills and talents in having a tight ship. So there's those pieces, those practical pieces coming together, but I cannot miss God's provision in unique ways over recent years.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think we've mentioned almost every member of our team at this point in time. So Jan and Jeremy we're missing out on, and Pat and Steve-O. Those are the only people that are kind of part of our team that we haven't. And Jenny and Andy.
Yeah, and so you can write me off as giving a sales pitch of join our team. But when you hear those names, I hope that you're thinking, man, that's a good team. Other than that Greene guy, that's a pretty good group. And so I hope that whether or not you want to apply, that it gives you joy knowing the team that is serving alongside you. And it's a privilege to be able to serve our churches and to work with this team.
I think so too. Good thing to note that the Missionary Society has been a great partner in getting church planning to this point as well too. So both Pastor Garfield and Pastor Andy have participated in the church planning task force and are ready and willing to aid in any work that does missions, which church planning is. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, the Missionary Society is awesome in calling us all to raise our evangelism temperature, of keeping our outward focus and partnering in unique ways. Awesome. Thank you, Pastor Andy and Pastor Garfield, and all the Missionary Society team.
All right, we're gonna last call for any live questions. After live questions, you can always send a note. Contact Brittany with a question you might have, and someone will get back with you with the right response. So any last questions we got going on? Carl, while we're waiting for that, any last words that you wanted to share with anybody about what's going on? Anything else that's going on or with this?
I guess that I hope you get the flavor of our conference theme. President Butler has laid out restored for a purpose. And this announcement just has that flavor for it with me. Think about it, restored for a purpose, in which this has been a process that we've been moving towards. What a great season, what a great conference theme to have wrapped around this time period of restored for a purpose. To have this God glorifying opportunity of moving towards health. I think it's great. And so I just want to end with those words of restored for a purpose.
Yeah, this next year, we're celebrating 350 years of Seventh-day Baptists in North America, starting at Newport, right? With the Newport Seventh-day Baptist Church. And so I can't think of anything better that says a testimony to a rich heritage like that than to continue to take the gospel into the dark places of North America, to continue to have an SDB expression of faith, our unique expressions of faith in places where they're accessible to people. So where there's not a drive of multiple hours to make it to one of our local congregations, right? So let's partner together. Let's figure ways out. Let's use this excitement and this momentum and build it to a place to where there is a Seventh-day Baptist church in every area code of the United States and Canada and Mexico and to the ends of the earth. So that's really what we think, or what I think that we've been restored for, is that purpose of continuing to share the gospel, continuing to have an SDB expression of faith amongst the larger kingdom picture. I think God wants us here, and He wants more people to know about Jesus and about His gospel. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. You've got all the stuff in the comments. Information's there. Contacts are there. Please reach out. And if you're hearing this and it's not for you, but you have someone on your mind, make sure that they get this as well too. So thank you for joining us this evening.